buildings have been set on fire in Peckham and Croydon in the south, Ealing in the west and Hackney in the east of the city. Youths wearing hooded tops to mask their faces grabbed merchandise from shops as police struggle to cope with the scale of the unrest. In other cities, including Liverpool, Birmingham and Bristol, there's been widespread looting in the city of Birmingham. Prime Minister David Cameron is returning from holiday to take part in an emergency meeting on Tuesday.
In the north and south of the capital. In Hackney, the disturbances began in the early evening. The police said they would have more officers on the streets of London tonight, and here they moved in force. So all around this area, the cordons are now going up. For the second night running, we've got copycat acts of violence. This is what the police feared, what they're calling pure criminality. This group are looting an off-licence, one of them carrying away a whole box full of drink, a shopkeeper's livelihood slowly being removed. And tonight, to the south of London, this was Croydon, a furniture store in flames. And this was the view of one local eyewitness.
They don't care. I've never seen such a disregard for human life. Nice little anarchists, I hope they have a nice little party, I hope they rot in hell. Because the grief they have caused people, the fear they've put in people's hearts, decent people who have done nothing to anyone, and the fear in them.
This is an area which is miles from the shooting which has triggered this unimagined spiral of violence. In Peckham, a clothes store was being turned over, people helping themselves as others looked on. A bus was burnt out. Police were guarding a supermarket, but they couldn't stop a pharmacy being attacked. And from the country's most senior police officer, an appeal for help in stopping the law-breaking. In a development which will alarm police and politicians, tonight the trouble moved outside London. This was Birmingham, vandals and looters out in the city centre. Social media has played a massive part in the spread of information. Police have warned that anyone inciting violence through social networking sites could face prosecution. The technology company BlackBerry has said it will try to assist the authorities in tracking down the troublemakers. A fatal shooting by police last Thursday has become the trigger for an unimagined chain of destruction. The sense of crisis is underlined by the Prime Minister's decision to cut short his holiday and return home. June Kelly, BBC News.
Birmingham, Liverpool, with many arrests being reported. But in particular, it is London that is still very much the focus of the disturbances, with many areas from north to south, east to west being affected by looting, cars being set alight, shops being broken into and damaging there. The pictures you can see is of Clapham in the south of London, which has been the scene of violence, particularly within the last 4 hours. We can speak to the freelance journalist Mark Pangallo, who is in Clapham for us. And Mark, just tell us what's happening where you are.
Yes, I'm in Clapham now, and an eerie calm has descended over the area. Some form of order has been restored, but the damage has already been done.
It's interesting you say that calm has been restored there, because we were seeing just within the last 15 or 20 minutes or so pictures of the London Fire Brigade still tackling a major fire in Clapham Junction.
Wandsworth Road at the minute, not in view of the fire, but I was there when it did break out, and I tell you, it was a really dangerous situation because there were residents above the shop that was set on fire, and I myself, because there was no fire brigade and no police presence, I myself was knocking on the doors and notifying residents that they had to leave their building.
And Mark, how long have you been in Clapham this evening, or in the early hours of the morning?
I arrived at the Clapham High Street at about 10 o'clock this evening. I was there for around about 45 to 50 minutes before I saw any sign of police presence, and it was utter chaos when I arrived, and I couldn't believe the devastation, millions of pounds worth of damage. The figures, there were thousands of onlookers, but more so hundreds of looters. I saw some people wheeling suitcases full of clothes, bags, even jewellery down the street as they left the Clapham High High Street area.
So, Mark, you've said significantly within the last half an hour or so, things seem to have quietened down. Just police and the fire service on the streets there, do you think?
Yes, just fire service and a few local metropolitan police, a few scattered youths roaming the area, but mainly terrified residents who I've come across actually on my way home. I've heard stories of people trying to protect their own business with their bare hands, and I'm actually with a gentleman now who fought off what he says 15 attackers by himself as they attempted to loot an electronics store on Wandsworth Road.
Mark, for people that are not familiar with the area of Clapham, just describe to us what kind of a place it is.
Well, it's beautiful, especially in the summertime. Lots of families out enjoying the sun at the common. You have some elderly residents around here as well. It's quite multicultural, and usually during the week it's peaceful. There's a great vibe about the area, and for this kind of violence and devastation, it really leaves a black mark on the area.
Mark, are you getting a sense that from what you saw over the last few hours in Clapham, that it was organised, the people that were gathering in groups there?
I think to a certain extent it was, and most certainly the youths knew each other, and they were corroborating, so to speak. And I definitely did get that feeling. However, once the looting started, it was almost every man for himself, and they were just attacking basically any business in sight. They were attacking even real estate agents. They attempted to attack some bars along Clapham. They were unsuccessful as the owners were out the front warding them off.
OK, Mark, for now, thank you so much for joining us. Mark Pangallo there, talking to us live from Clapham. This is the scene in West London. It is Ealing, where firefighters are clearly tackling a blaze there. We were reporting that West Ealing in particular has been the scene of some very active looting. Apparently the Panasonic store in West Ealing was targeted, as well as shops in the area as well. But just on the corner there, it's quite hard to make out whereabouts that is in Ealing. It could well be just off the main high street there on the corner. I believe the railway station is just behind there, but that is the scene there as firefighters are tackling the blaze, and it is almost an identikit situation of things that have been portrayed in other parts of London, like we've just shown, the situation in Clapham, the